Buenas again for your monthly extravaganza. Right.
Evening, my name is Adam Toos. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. So monthly presentation provide an update on the operation of the treatment plant, high level information on the operational activities being undertaken on the site. What's in scope is our operational of the interim solution and activities we're undertaking to mitigate the odours. Out of scope, slight change. Implementation of the findings of the independent review are out of scope. Also out of scope was previously the decision on the assurance. I can now upgrade that to what is out of scope is status of the permanent replacement solution. That's the agenda that I'll be running through. So just to reassure yourselves that we are continuing to undertake all the odour monitoring in the community, and all that information is continuing to be provided on the webpage that's up there on the link. However, what is interesting, so you've got two graphs there. These are the 4 community sites. On the left is the results for the last week of September. On the right is for the last week of October. And as you can see, they're starting to pick up low levels of odour. So we have recognised that and obviously acknowledged that. And we're continuing to work with ECAN on the smelter reports and have regular meetings with ECAN.
And yesterday.
Yeah, thank you. So if we go back, you can see there is a slight marginal increase in odour all the way through. What we've seen on site is the site itself has been reasonably stable, and this is sort of a reflection of what happened last year as you moved from winter into summer. So there's nothing significantly changed on site that's resulted in this increase in odours. What we have been doing is we have been preparing the site for summer. We've been looking at everything that's been going on and seeing what we need to do. What we are focused on is where the odours picked up last year, which is on the primary settlement tanks. So what that picture is showing you there is, if you count them from left to right, there's 7 tanks there. So these are the primary tanks. I'll discuss what they do later in a bit of detail. But as you can see, the bottom tank, that's what a tank looks like when it's empty. So at this moment in time, we've got 6 tanks in service, which just happens to be the same as the aerial image. But what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those primary tanks offline. So instead of having 6 online, we'll go down to 5. Why do we do that? I appreciate this is a bit technical, but it just shows the level of stuff that we go down to try and make these decisions to operate the site as best we can. So we reviewed the flows and the tank parameters, as shown it's time to reduce the number of PSTs we have in service. So the little green table on the left shows the flow data from the 8th of September through to the 6th of November. And on the right, equivalent to that is the retention time and the upward flow velocity. So if it's red, it means if we have that many tanks in service, they'll be out of parameter. And if it's white, it means it's within the parameter. So as you can see, we've had 6 tanks in service. And for those 2 lines, you can see that it's all nice and white. The orange on the bottom left shows what flows we experienced last year as a best guess for us as the forecast going forwards. And as you can see, there's more red in the one where you've got 6 PSTs online. So we're making the best guess now to move down from 6 to 5. And we think that's going to be the best that we can for between now and the end of summer, so the 1st of April 24. We will, of course, continue to look at those flows that are coming in and compare it against this table to make sure that we're still operating in the best way that we can. Always trying to do, look out there for other things that have been going on. So what new technologies are out there. So we've got 2 new monitoring devices that my process engineers behind me have purchased, and they're bringing them using on site. So one of them is we go through the ponds every week and we have a look to see what the algae does. We grab a sample, send it into the lab, and a week or so later we get the results through. So what we've done is we've purchased a chlorophyll meter, which measures the algae in the ponds. So rather than have to wait a week and a bit, we have some real-time data. Basically just measures so it's quite simple. So we're comparing what we're getting against what the lab do so we can understand it better. And again, pushing my technical knowledge, one of the team has bought themselves a ORP for redox potential. I'm just testing that all the way through the site to see how that works and see what that tells us. The aerator status, So these are the 16 aerators that are on the oxidation pond number 1. As you're aware, we've had a number of issues with the reliability of them. The table shows the data from the 9th of October through to the 7th of November. Green is running nice and happy, red is not. So you can see that aerator number 5 broke down on the 17th of October and was brought back into service on 23rd of October. So that was when it broke, and they had lifted it out, took it away, fixed it, broke it back. They also took the opportunity when they were back on site to undertake planned maintenance on all the other disc aerators on there. So try to make it efficient for them. So that's the disc aerators. Vertical aerators, as you can see, there was planned activity on the 23rd of October and the 31st of October as well. However, what you can also see for vertical shaft aerator number 5, which is the one closest to the state highway, it fell over on the 3rd of November. And I saw them lifting it out today to take away to the workshop to fix. The reason it's taken so long is they were trying to just change some of the electrical cables on it to see if they could get it work without sending it away. But obviously, they were taking it away. The temporary activated sludge plant that we've got, obviously, we're still trying to make sure that's working as hard and as possible as it can. So the optimization plan that we're working through with Jacobs has 3 modes for 6 weeks each. 2 of those modes have been completed, and then we're our 3rd and final mode. Once we've undertaken that, we'll have a look at everything and decide what's the best way to try and run the plant. So the green box and the 2 green circles show the entire aeration volume we've got on our activated sludge plant. And the yellow box is basically saying what we've been doing. So we've got 4 secondary contact tanks, and we've tried running on 4, then we tried running on 2, and at the moment, so that bottom one should say mode 3, we're running on 1 SCT lane. So we're reducing the amount of volume that the activated sludge plant has got to see if that makes a change, to see if we get to perform better. So what does that actually look like? On the left-hand side, the lane on the left has recently been emptied. So you can see we've taken it out, and the lane on the right, which is full of sewage bubbling away there, that's the only one that's left back in service. So the one on the left shows all the diffuser heads on the bottom, and on the right-hand side, once we've gone in, once we've cleaned it, we then let the water level up just to cover that diffusers. So although it looks black with a bit of green, that's fine. It's the best way it is to protect the asset. The chemical trials, as you're aware, a number of chemical suppliers came and offered us a number of chemicals that they said would resolve a lot of our odour issues. So we've taken 6 suppliers, 1 of their products each. We've taken it through a number of stages. Step 1, got all the information. Yep, so we know that the product has got as safe as how it works. Number 2, the small scale trial. We've completed that. Apologies, we got the report. So obviously we got the report after we sent it. Stage 3, we have actually changed it based on the learnings that we got from the small scale trial. The small scale trial was originally just for 2 days, and what we've figured it's actually probably better to try and replicate the treatment plant the way that it is. So instead of going up to 1,000 litres and testing it over 2 days, we're going to stay on the small scale of 20 litres, but we're going to run it over a 2-week period to try and better replicate what's on site. And stage 4 still to go. So 2 products were stopped at stage 1. The suppliers were unable to provide us all the information to undertake the trial. And then 2 products were stopped at stage 2. So 2 products performed, 2 products didn't. And so we're taking 2 products through to the next stage, which we're hoping should be sort of completed within the next month. So that's it for the update. What I just wanted to touch on now is the decision's being made to go with the temporary activated sludge plant.
For defining gross, because
it's true gross. Is just to run you through, what's a trickling filter and what an activated sludge plant is. What I'm not going to say is why we went from one over the other. It's just to provide a bit of background information on trickling filter activated sludge plant. So as you're aware, the fire only damaged 1 section of the treatment plant, which was the secondary treatment stage, which I'll discuss. But most normal treatment plants have the inlet screens, which is the first line across the top, and that takes out gross, as in large, or horrible, inorganic material, anything that people can fit down the toilet, condoms, tampons, cotton buds, wet wipes, anything that's not pee, poo and paper. Why do we take all that stuff out? It's so that we don't block the diffusers and all the pumps downstream. The physical tank, sorry, the primary tanks, which I talked about before, gone from 7 down to 5. That takes a lot of the sludge out of the system. So that reduces the load on the downstream processes. We take it out so more processes don't need to treat it. The secondary treatment, which is what I'll be focusing on, they take out the biological oxygen demand, which is sort of like the load in the sewage, and it treats it so that it can release it safely into the environment. The clarifiers, they take the sludge out, and again, so that the top water is safe for release into the environment, and the oxidation ponds inactivates the pathogens, so it prevents the spread of waterborne diseases. So the trickling filters and the activated sludge are both secondary treatment processes. The secondary treatment process is a removal of that biodegradable organic material. It's achieved by simply creating an environment for the naturally occurring microbes to thrive and treat the sewage. So we just give it perfect conditions for it to grow and reintroduce sewage into it, and it treats the sewage for us. There's 2 main types of secondary treatment. There's fixed film or suspended growth systems. Fixed film is where the biomass grows on the media and sewage passes over the surface, like we had on the trickling filters. Suspended growth is where the biomass is kept in suspension in the tanks and then treats it there, goes into other tanks, we settle it out and we take that sludge around and put it to the start of the process. Both of those processes need clarifiers. So the fixed film one, the trickling filter is the one that we had on site. If you have a look at the top right is the closest one to it. So if you can imagine that filter 8-9 meters tall, you've got the arms inside and then you have the big dome over the top. So sewage goes up the middle, comes out those arms, works its way through the media with the biomass attached onto the media, and then it comes out the bottom. Different types of those. You've got rotating biological contactors, which goes around the circle. And then you've also got moving bed biofill reactors where the mass is on the plastic and it circulates it around in the tank. So those are the fixed film type. The suspended growth is essentially all activated sludge plants, and there's many different types of activated sludge plants out there. There's oxidation ditch, deep shaft, and sequential batch reactors. They all have their small little areas where they work really well. Small population, really remote areas, high load areas, but obviously not quite what we've got in Christchurch. So what we have on the right is diffused aeration, which is what's been proposed to put in. And then on the left, you can have the surface aeration, which is what we put in as the temporary system. And then if you're feeling really special, you can use pure oxygen. So rather than just mixing air in, you can introduce oxygen. It's obviously natural air, 21% oxygen, pure nitrogen, 100% oxygen. So you only need to put a fifth in. So last slide. Temporary system is what you see there on the bottom. So what we're doing with the insurance is to essentially take what we've done there and build it in a big box and put it over there. Sounds easy.
Yeah, and we were just informed earlier that those are going to be demolished soon. Starting,
that's out of scope.
It is out of scope. I can confirm that's my understanding as well, is that the physical structures themselves should be down by Christmas.
So did you just?
He did, yeah, I know.
Did you just say to someone else that something is out of scope?
Just thought I'd return the favour.
Thank you. That's much appreciated. But yeah, given the picture of the big yeah, so that's good. Yeah. All right. We had a question from Kelly.
Thanks, Evan. Fascinating as usual. Thanks for your update. Just in terms of vulnerabilities over the next couple of years, is it the aerators? Are they your biggest fear in terms of your ability to continue to deliver?
So, yes and no. So the aerators that are on the pond, they're demonstrating a number of reliability issues. However, as you can see from the graph, the contractors very quickly to jump in and fix them as quickly as possible. I think that's just something we're going to have to live with for the foreseeable. It tends to be individual aerators that fall over. It's not like it's a large scale failure like the motor loads just falling over or the cables or something failing. It's sort of the individual aerators themselves. For the activated sludge plant itself, those 8 aerators you see on the circular tank have been absolutely faultless. Switched them on, 2.5 years, run without failure. My biggest concern with the temporary activated sludge plant is those 2 tanks on the bottom left. You see, got the 2 bridges going all the way straight, but then you've got the arms going across, so they rotate and they essentially suck the sludge out the bottom of the tank and put it into the station and then pumps it back to the head of the treatment plant. That is all hanging off one central bearing. That is what makes me nervous, because there's 2 single point of failures, because I need both in service to get the treatment plant to run as much as I can. We are aware that we've had issues with one of them, which is the lower one, the one closest to the road. And the capital delivery team is working on a solution to do something with that.
Yeah, so just following on from that, I mean, what kind of sort of resilience do you have in the system? You know, one of those bearings did go down, or I'm also curious about aerators. Do we have kind of, I'm assuming that they're not cheap, and you wouldn't have a lot sort of sitting around ready to replace the existing ones.
Correct. So we've got one critical spare aerator for the activated sludge plant. We can literally drop that in within a matter of hours. The aerators on the ponds, they're reasonably easy to get hold of. It's the actual infrastructure that you need to be able to put it in. So to put in an additional electrical panel to run the additional cable in to physically get out there, that's where the difficulty is. So the solution was put in to get us through that nominal 5-year period without spending too much money, to try and put something in that's fit for purpose until the permanent solution arrived, which is what we tried to put in.
That's good. Thanks.
Gary?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing. It's really cool to hear about the development of the microbes that you're trialing, and also the new real-time information, which is something that I've been, trying to get. So I'm really welcome that. I just wondered, in terms of, I've just looked at the kind of landing page that we have on our website, and it's still quite out of date.
Yes.
Is there some way that we can get more up-to-date information being uploaded around the things that you're telling us, so that people can have more of a sense of what's being done? I just know, for example, like the last news update post was 30th of July.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess 2 questions really. One is, how can we get the information that you're sharing with us put onto the website in a more timely fashion, if possible? And then the second one is, with the real-time information that we've got, are we able to share it like we're doing with the air quality in a way that the community can understand?
I'm not sure about the real time for the air quality. I thought I'll have to get back to you.
Oh, sorry. I know we can't do real-time for air quality, but for the new real-time information machines that you've talked to us today about, is there a way that...
So which ones are those?
That was the...
Chlorophyll and the...
No. Sorry. No, that's my engineers wandering around with a meter, and they go and put it in. They sit there, they wait for it to stabilise, and then they write it down.
Yeah.
There's no real time about it, sorry.
No, but is there any way that the information, like we've done with the air quality, can be put into some sort of...
It's all information that we collect, and it's everything that we record. There's no reason why we couldn't give it out. It's just quite...
So how do you give it meaning to the general?
Yeah. Because I mean...
Like for example, like if the algae is light blue, or if it's green, like what does that tell us?
Yeah, so with the algae, it basically just tells you how green it is. So that's how much algae it is. So if there's algae, it produces oxygen.
So the more green it is, the better it is for the health.
Yes.
Right. So, weekly reading, we've had, bright green to I don't know what the clear.
Yeah.
So people can see the trend.
Poo green, green?
It goes up and down in cycles. So typically you see 4 boom and bust cycles of algae over the course of the summer. So I'm more than happy to put the information up. But if we're getting a lot of questions about why is it going down, why is it going up, all that sort of, we can sort of happily provide something on it. But, there's hundreds of different parameters.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from
Yeah.
that important work that you need to do to do the real-time adjustments to whatever treatment might be causing a problem. But just having a sense of some way in which we can get this new information
Yes.
presented in a way that people can understand.
Yeah, we can certainly look at that. So the chlorophyll algae, I much prefer to give the lab data out that we already collect. So that goes to the IAN's accredited laboratory. I've got far more faith in that. With these handheld meters, is just to give an indication. I'm not comfortable about putting those results up because I don't know the accuracy of the meter because I'm still going through that phase. So I'm more than happy to look at it and put the IAN's accredited algae up and put a bit of spiel about the handheld meter on it.
Right, thank you. Oh, you've got another question? Okay.
Yeah, how difficult would it be to have a tour again for public?
Public or councillors?
Right. We used to have public days.
We used to.
I've been to one.
Yes, me too. That's where I learned that there's no point needing corn.
No point what?
Need to speak on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was 10 ponds and corn.
Please.
Yeah, so I mean, just as, just to give an example, so that's between the SCT tanks. So as you can see, the narrow walkways, we've got handrails in place. It's quite time and people intensive from my side to take tours around. It's certainly something that we could look at.
Once we get the new plant, maybe.
Yes.
I was thinking that if people who are making a lot of noise for the right reasons
Yes.
could actually see the complexity themselves, they might go, oh, this is massive. Rather
It is.
than, oh, why is that not fixed?
Yeah, no, it's something I can sort of look at, but just to give it a little bit of context, the entire site is run by 5 shift engineers on a 24/7, 365 basis. So I've only ever got one at any one time, and they are the only person that's looking after the entire site. And I've then got my 2 engineers sat behind me, Ramsey and Lenker, and that's it. So during the normal working day, I've only got 2 people on site.
And considering it is running on duct tape and number 8 wire, maybe we'll need to wait for a more permanent solution.
We'll take the question away into consideration. I understand the importance of people being able to see it. I just need to manage.
People high vis on help.
It's
High vis doesn't help if anyone sort of, touches them.
on that note, thank you very much, Adam, and please again pass on our gratitude to your team.
I will do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
So now we come to